open Europe. Thanks so much for joining us. Does it surprise you that here, this isn't even the 11th hour, it's like 11:59, and the IMF is saying, no, not good enough to the drawing board?
Well, actually, there was some cautious optimism when Greece presented this updated list of proposals on Monday, and they were seen as broadly comprehensive and potentially a basis for a deal, but the proviso was that the three institutions, the European Commission, the IMF, the ECB, had to crunch some numbers, see if everything added up in these proposals, and actually it was clear that the proposal was too heavily relying on tax hikes. So, I mean, it's not entirely surprising that the IMF is insisting that if that money is to be found to reach certain fiscal targets that have been agreed between Greece and its creditors, this be done via spending cuts rather than so many tax hikes, because there are VAT increases, there are increases in corporate tax. So it's true that at the end of the day, such a plan risks making things worse in terms of recessionary effects.
And yet, conversely, Syriza is always saying, look, the recessionary effects are going to come from more austerity. They don't want to make the pension cuts. Let's get to the cash flow problem. This morning, again, the ECB is saying, look, we are propping up, of course, those Greek banks. How much does it worry you that in the next 24 to 48 hours, we do have a stellar cash crunch yet again in Greece?
Well, it's always difficult to predict deposit outflows, although we have seen that they have been increasing steadily. As regards the role of the ECB, it seems quite clear to me that they don't want to be the ones who actually pull the trigger. So I think as long as there is a prospect of a deal between Greece and its creditors, I think the ECB will continue to prop up Greek banks with this emergency liquidity assistance, so basically emergency funding for Greek banks.
Do you think now that in some European leaders' minds, because they keep insisting that they are strong enough, they can get through a Brexit if they have to, you know, the leaders in Greece keep saying, look, it almost seems like as if Europe doesn't want a deal. Do you think that is a bargaining tactic, or do you think they are literally saying to Greece, look, you come back to the table with more cuts or we'll cut you loose?
I think it's a bit of the two. I mean, it's a bit of both. There is still some posturing despite time running out really literally now. But I also think that the message from other Eurozone leaders has been quite clear. I mean, they have been conveying the message that the Eurozone is better equipped and better prepared to face the financial contagion of the Greek euro exit, although I would like to stress that the political contagion from a country leaving the Eurozone would still be significant, because it would mean that the single currency, that the euro, is not irreversible, so that it is a currency where you can enter, but from where you can also exit. And this is something that I don't think Eurozone leaders want to show.
It really is a complicated thing. So little time now going forward, and we should say already that the markets had already calculated a deal perhaps no longer that is feasible.